The world has always feared one weapon more than any other. A weapon so destructive that a single bomb can erase an entire city in seconds. But what's even more terrifying is this. The countries that built these weapons were not always enemies. Sometimes they were allies, friends, partners. And yet behind closed doors, they spied on each other, betrayed each other, stole secrets from each other, and played some of the most dangerous games in human history. In 1963, one man desperately tried to stop this madness: American President John F. Kennedy. At that time, Israel was moving dangerously close to building a nuclear bomb. Kennedy feared that if Israel became a nuclear power, the entire Middle East would explode into chaos.
Because if Israel got the bomb, Arab nations would seek protection from America's greatest enemy, the Soviet Union. Kennedy pressured Israel repeatedly. Inspections, warnings, diplomatic pressure. He tried everything. But then, Kennedy was assassinated. And after his death, the road suddenly became much easier for Israel's secret nuclear program. Coincidence? History still debates it. But one thing is certain: the global nuclear race had already begun. And once it started, there was no stopping it. Today, we uncover the shocking story of the 10 countries that entered the nuclear club. A story filled with espionage, secret laboratories, double agents, scientists hunted by intelligence agencies, and betrayals between nations that once trusted each other. There are nearly 200 countries in the world. Most have armies, missiles, advanced fighter jets, modern weapons. But only a handful possess the deadliest weapon ever created by mankind: nuclear bombs. Why? Because building a nuclear weapon is not just difficult. It is one of the most secretive and dangerous scientific missions imaginable. Some countries spent decades trying. Others stole secrets. Some were helped by allies. And some achieved it through lies, covert operations, and intelligence wars. The story begins in Nazi Germany. In 1938, German scientists made a discovery that would change human history forever: nuclear fission.
They discovered that splitting an atom could release unimaginable energy. At first, it sounded like a scientific breakthrough, but one man immediately understood the terrifying possibilities: Albert Einstein. Einstein feared that Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler could turn this discovery into a superweapon. So he warned America. That warning changed everything. The United States launched one of the most secret military programs ever created, the Manhattan Project. An operation so secret that even many workers involved had no idea what they were building. Scientists from America, Britain, and Canada worked together in hidden facilities. Billions of dollars were poured into the project. The mission was simple: build the bomb before Hitler did. Then came 1945. Germany surrendered. Hitler was dead. But by then, America had already unlocked the power of the atom. In the deserts of New Mexico, the world witnessed the first nuclear explosion in history, the Trinity test. Humanity had entered the nuclear age. And only weeks later, the world saw the true horror of atomic warfare. America dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan. Little Boy on atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Then, Fat Man. Entire cities vanished beneath fire and shockwaves.
Hundreds of thousands died. Japan surrendered. World War II ended. But another war had just begun. A silent war. a race for nuclear power. At first, America believed it alone possessed the ultimate weapon. But one nation was watching very carefully: the Soviet Union. Ironically, the Soviets had fought alongside America against Hitler. Yet after the war, they realized America was hiding nuclear secrets from them. And that terrified Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. So the Soviets launched one of the greatest espionage operations in history. They planted spies inside the Manhattan Project. Scientists, agents, informants. Nuclear secrets began flowing into Moscow. But America fought back too. Some Soviet spies were secretly turned into double agents and fed false information. It became a shadow war of deception. Still, Soviet scientists pushed forward. Then in 1949, the impossible happened. The Soviet Union successfully tested its first nuclear bomb, RDS-1. America's monopoly was over. The Cold War had officially begun. Now the world had two nuclear superpowers, and fear spread everywhere. Next came Britain, and surprisingly, Britain felt betrayed by America too. Long before America built the atomic bomb, Britain had already begun nuclear research under a secret project called tube alloys. British scientists even shared critical research with America during the war. Both nations signed an agreement promising cooperation. But once America succeeded, everything changed. Washington stopped sharing key nuclear information. Britain felt abandoned, furious. So the UK decided to build its own bomb independently.
Luckily for Britain, it already possessed valuable research and access to uranium resources across its empire. In 1952, Britain detonated its first nuclear weapon near Australia during Operation Hurricane. The nuclear club was expanding. But scientists were already working on something even more terrifying than atomic bombs: the hydrogen bomb. Unlike atomic bombs that split atoms, hydrogen bombs fuse atoms together, the same reaction that powers the sun. The result? Destruction on a completely different level. In 1952, America successfully tested the hydrogen bomb. Its power was hundreds of times greater than Hiroshima. Soon, the Soviet Union followed, then Britain. Humanity now possessed weapons capable of destroying civilization itself. Then came France. At first, France focused mainly on peaceful nuclear energy, but global politics changed everything. In 1956, Egyptian leader Gamal Abdel Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal. Britain and France were outraged. Together with Israel, they secretly launched a military attack on Egypt during the Suez Crisis. But then something shocking happened. Both America and the Soviet Union pressured Britain and France to back down. France felt humiliated. Its leaders realized something dangerous. Without nuclear weapons, France could never truly stand independent against global superpowers. So France accelerated its nuclear program, using uranium from African colonies. In 1960, France tested its first nuclear bomb in the Sahara Desert. By 1968,
France had developed hydrogen bombs too. Next came China. The Korean War deeply changed Chinese thinking. At one point, Chinese forces pushed American troops backward. America responded with nuclear threats. Chinese leader Mao Zedong understood the message immediately. Without nuclear weapons, China would always remain vulnerable. Initially, the Soviet Union helped China's program, but relations between the two communist giants soon collapsed. The
the Soviets withdrew their scientists and abandoned the project. For China, it was humiliation, but also motivation. China continued alone. And in 1964, China shocked the world by successfully detonating its first nuclear bomb, codename 596, a reminder of the year Soviet support ended. Now we come to one of the world's biggest nuclear mysteries, Israel. Officially, Israel has never confirmed possessing nuclear weapons, and it has never denied it either. But intelligence agencies around the world believe Israel secretly built nuclear bombs decades ago. Its nuclear facility at Dimona became one of the most secretive sites on Earth. Israel feared being surrounded by hostile neighbors. Wars with Arab nations only intensified that fear. France reportedly provided major assistance during the early years. Then came a man who threatened to expose everything, Mordecai Vanunu. In 1986,
Vanunu leaked secret photographs and information about Israel's nuclear program to British newspapers. Israel reacted immediately. Its intelligence agency, Mossad, launched a covert honey trap operation. Vanunu was lured abroad, captured, and secretly taken back to Israel. He spent 18 years in prison. Even today, his movements remain heavily restricted. Then came India. India had explored nuclear science since independence, mainly for peaceful energy. But two major events changed India forever. First, the humiliating defeat against China in the Sino-Indian War. Second, China's successful nuclear test in 1964. India suddenly faced a nuclear-armed rival, and Indian leaders decided they could not remain behind. Using reactors obtained from America and Canada for civilian purposes, India quietly advanced its nuclear capabilities. Then, in 1974, India stunned the world. Deep beneath the Rajasthan desert, India conducted its first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha. India called it a peaceful nuclear explosion, but the world was not convinced. America and Canada were furious because their technology had helped make it possible. And across the border, Pakistan panicked. For Pakistan, India's nuclear test changed everything. After losing East Pakistan in 1971, the country already felt vulnerable. Now, India had the bomb. Pakistan believed survival itself was at stake. That's when one man entered the story, Abdul Qadir Khan. A.Q. Khan worked in Europe at a nuclear facility handling uranium enrichment technology. There, he secretly gained access to sensitive centrifuge designs. Then, he returned to Pakistan. China also quietly supported Pakistan, seeing it as a counterbalance to India. And during the Soviet-Afghan War, America largely ignored Pakistan's nuclear ambitions because Pakistan was helping fight Soviet influence. Then came 1998. India conducted a series of nuclear tests. The world watched nervously. Weeks later, Pakistan responded with its own underground nuclear explosions in the mountains of Chagai. South Asia had officially become nuclearized. But Pakistan's story did not end there. Years later, A.Q. Khan admitted that nuclear technology had been shared with countries including Iran, Libya, and North Korea, one of the largest nuclear proliferation scandals in history. Which brings us to the final country, North Korea. North Korea believed nuclear weapons were the only way to survive against America and South Korea. At first, the Soviet Union helped North Korea develop peaceful nuclear technology. But eventually, both China and the Soviets refused to support weapons development. So North Korea moved forward alone, secretly.
Even while signing international agreements, it continued underground research.
Many experts believe North Korea and Pakistan exchanged military technology. North Korea provided missile designs. Pakistan allegedly shared uranium enrichment knowledge. Then, in 2006, North Korea conducted its first nuclear test. The explosion appeared weak. Some experts suspected partial failure. But in 2009, North Korea conducted a far more powerful test. The message was clear. North Korea had joined the nuclear club. And today, the world still lives under the shadow of these weapons, because the race may not be over. Many believe Iran could become the next nuclear power. And if that happens, other countries in the Middle East may follow. A chain reaction no one can fully control. Because throughout history, every nation has said the same thing. We only want nuclear weapons for protection. But once one country gets the bomb, its rivals immediately want one too. And that is the terrifying reality of the nuclear age. A world where peace is maintained, not by trust,